Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to be just discussing basic things for the next 3 minutes, like some of the common questions that I see in the chat, top questions in the chat up until now. So we don't repeat the same questions over and over. While we wait for more folks to join in, we have 2 whole minutes for everybody else to jump in as well. Thank you so much for taking the time. And thank you so much for letting us all know what the optimal time for meeting or conducting these sessions are. Because we asked you all in email at the time of registration, so you all had a preferred choice, and this was the one that worked out for a good majority, and also somewhere a balance between the first and second most preferred times. So thank you so much for sharing that also. All right. The most common question so far has been about learning credits, the lab credits for skills labs, skills boost labs. Don't worry about it. Today's session, we are just going to go through the basics, the foundation of the initiative itself, and then we'll jump into the labs. For today's lab, which we're going to work on all together, hands on, you don't need credits for that. It's going to be in BigQuery, so you can just jump right in and get started with the second lab first. That's what we'll start after we do the introductions. But you can always claim the 35 credits for labs. These are not Google Cloud credits. These are Skills Labs learning credits, which will allow you to go through the Skills Boost Labs and do some learning, which will spin up Google Cloud console instance for you based on whatever is required for that particular lab. So you can get that by signing up for Google Developer Program and then subscribing for GEAR initiative, GEAR. And this is pretty straightforward. If you were not able to do so far, it's fine. You can do it later also. Don't worry about it. This morning, or recently, a few hours ago, you would have received an email with direct links to get the credits. So you can also use that, but that will only give you 9 credits. But you can get both. If you sign up for Gear, you get 35, and today you would have got 9 credits, just the labs credits. So overall, you'll have about 44 just to replenish and for you to continue to learn. Do it at your own time. It's not necessary that you have to do it right away, like right now. If you don't have the credits enabled, it's totally fine. We are going to be working with BigQuery, the initial aspects of how to set up your data set, how to set up a table, what is the use case that we are going to start with today, and how you'll get started in Google Cloud with BigQuery and a few other services like cloud storage. We'll also be talking about Cloud SQL. We'll be talking about a few databases of in Google Cloud and so on and so forth. All right, we are at time, so let's get started. Welcome to Patchamomma 2026, the very first session. So I see a lot of you are pinging and you're saying hi and you're so excited. So thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Let me quickly share my screen. Perfect. So what do we aim to do here? With Patchamomma, the initiative, we are here to empower women in AI to build, deploy, and scale. Is that all? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm Abhirami Sukumaran, Staff Developer Advocate, Google. I predominantly focus on cloud databases and AI. So we started off with Patchamomma last year. We did the pilot run last year in 2025. We shortlisted about 100 uh, ladies, and all of them were super thrilled. They were all able to go through the sessions. They were all able to build something of their own. We had the top 25 selected, and we had them present in a live finale. So we'll talk more about what Patchamomma is really. You would have seen that when you signed up using the RSVP link, the Pachamama landing page. So it is derived from the Spanish word Pachamama, which is Mother Earth in English, right? So it is inspiring because it stands for sustainability. So we wanted to make learning and resourcefulness sustainable for the women in tech, women in AI, and women who aspire to be in tech and AI, to learn, to build, to upskill, to map the career gap, whatever it is, wherever you are in your professional journey, whether you are in a professional gap, you're trying to transform from one role to another, or you're trying to upskill, you're trying to switch careers, switch areas of work, or anything, wherever you are, or you just want to learn, you're doing just fine, you want to learn and just, you know, get ahead in your learning curve, whatever it is. So this is a platform for the women in the learning community, building community, and this was exclusively set at level for working professionals, meaning professionals who have um, a minimum level of working experience, even if it's not current. It's still been there, or exceptional interns or exceptional candidates who were approved based on their profile that they had submitted based on their ideas and other things. So you all read about that before you registered. So once again, I want to extend my sincere thanks for going through this entire waiting process of registering and waiting for confirmation, shortlist confirmation, and all those things. So here we are. We have 8 marquee events as part of Patchamomma 2026. July 23rd, we already had the email event where we notified the shortlisted candidates. We notified how to sign up for Google Developer Program GDP, how to sign up for gear and other things. The session details were announced and getting started details were all sent on 23rd. And today, the first ever session, the live session, the database applications session, and you're all here. In your email that was sent even until a few hours ago before this live, you would have received an email and you have 2 labs. It's also there in the YouTube live stream description. Just scroll down and see the 2 labs that we are going to be focused on. We are going to be starting with lab 2 first, which is the e-commerce application, because that's no credit, no cost lab. So we'll be working on that first, and then we'll be working our way up towards the other one, the first lab. All right. So that's today. Why are we starting with database applications first? The reason we are doing that is because this is the day of age of data and AI, advanced AI, agentic AI at that, right? So anything you want to do with AI or agents, it starts with data. You know that you have the data that is required for whatever you want to build. You know that this is the format or this is the template or the structure of the data that you want to use for your application. But where are you going to store it? How are you going to ingest it? What is the strategy for archival? What is the strategy for transformation? What is the strategy for processing your data? So there are so many things before you can even think about applying AI. It's not always about building an MVP or building just a prototype with the bare minimum data that you have, like use an API endpoint as a wrapper and get started. It's not always the case. You have to get started with setting up your ingestion pipeline or understanding how databases work, thinking about the schema, thinking about the data architecture or the database architecture overall is an important thing before you even think about building out the application, the multi-agent application, or any application that you're building in which you're planning to incorporate advanced AI. So that is why we are starting with database applications. Of course, we will not be able to cover every single Google Cloud database out there. The reason being we have limited sessions and we want to get hands-on really quickly, although we will be looking at the names at least at a high level. But in today's session we'll be looking at BigQuery, Cloud SQL. BigQuery is a data warehouse, but still it'll be highly useful for you to start from there first, because one, it's serverless. You can immediately jumpstart and do no cost trials, no cost learning. So that's why we'll start there. And then you'll also have Cloud SQL. We will also learn about Google Cloud Storage, where you will store unstructured media objects. You'll also learn Cloud Shell Terminal, where you will use commands or write commands, type commands to interact with Google Cloud services, and so on. And after that, the next session is day after tomorrow. We'll be talking about insights and analytics. Now that we've started with the data, the ingestion, transformation, and all those things, just uh, the basics that are required for you to get started with the data. The next session will be about how would you use insights, how would you apply analytics on top of the data that is there in your database. So we'll be looking at that. And the session after that will be cloud build tools, which will help you write code. So you will be looking at anti-gravity IDE, you'll be looking at AI Studio. So we'll be building applications. Again, for this, you will not need the labs credits. You will just get started easily with anti-gravity and AI Studio. You can get an API key right from AI Studio console, and then you can get started building your, at least for that session, whatever you want to build, right? And in the next session, we'll be looking at building multi-agent systems. We have a guest Googler speaker for this, and you'll be learning to build multi-agent applications with Agent Development Kit, MCP. We'll be talking about Model Context Protocol, and other things like agent to agent, whatever is required for you to build multi-agent applications and get your data talk to your agent, and your application. So that's what we'll be looking at. And following that will be, all right, now that we have talked about data, database analytics, we've talked about application, we've talked about vibe coding. What are you going to do with the application that you build? You have to roll it out. You have to deploy it. You have to have a runtime for it. So that's why we will have the serverless session. We'll be talking about Cloud Run and other orchestration services. We'll also be talking about that. And finally, once the sessions are all over, you will be empowered and ready to go build, which is the build phase that starts on August 14th. Now, this is not a session per se, this is self paced. You will be given a tool, it's a Gaia mentor tool, which you'll be using to just track your progress, update your progress, submit as you go along building in your build journey. You'll be updating the progress in that tool. Links will be sent as and when we get closer to the date in your email. So please watch out for all of Patchamomma emails. If you're not receiving it in your inbox, do check your spam and everywhere. Accidentally, it shouldn't have landed there, right? So please watch out everywhere. But you will be given instructions for that as well. So for 4 weeks, you will be building at your own pace. And finally, there is going to be evaluation, which you'll build and you'll be fine. You'll be waiting for the shortlist and other confirmation, just like you did for the registration, and you'll be notified. And then we have a hybrid finale. Why is it hybrid? We are going to have one in-person session, and those of you who are not in Bangalore who want to join, and those who were not able to make it to that session, you'll all be joining us virtually, which is the mode of the overall season, like overall initiative. It's completely virtual, except for a few in-person session, like a few members who will be attending it in person, depending on availability, depending on the leaderboard, and also depending on where you are situated, right? So all those details will be sent as we get closer to the date. So right now, I'm not going to give you every single detail about the finale. It's still several weeks out, but just so you know, we have Richard Zerota doing the keynote for the finale. Prashant and I would be there talking about it, shortlisting the shortlisted, the top 10 ideas will be vetted out, and to rank those presentations and other things. We'll be there in person. And then session speakers, like I said, we have guest Googler speakers through the rest of the session. Like we have two sessions where you'll have Shruti and Stenel run individual sessions. Shruti will be doing the serverless runtime session, and Stenel would be doing the multi-agent application session. And I would be taking you through the rest of the sessions throughout this learning phase, which is phase one. And we have Tej, and we also have Sneha, and Tej and Sneha are Googlers who are helping us out throughout. They'll be your points of contact. They'll be there in the comment section answering your questions. I'll update Sneha's LinkedIn and other details as well. You can reach out any one of us for direct questions. We also have Code Vipassana leads who are actively answering questions in the chat, in comment section, and they'll also be available on LinkedIn. You can find them on codevipassana.dev portal. You will find all the leads LinkedIn profiles there. They're just like 15 members. I can't list all of them here, so they are there in codevipassana.dev. Please go look at that. All right. So now that we have established the sequence of what's going to happen in the next few weeks, welcome to the journey. So it's three-phased. First one is upskill, the current one. We have started already the first one. We have 4 more sessions to go. We already looked at what those sessions are. The next one, phase 2, is the build phase. Starts August 14th and it runs till September 10th. You will get all the details of when you should submit. All those things will be delivered to your email. And the phase 3, which is networking and other opportunities, which we'll talk about in the next few slides. Credit redemption, again, this is just for your learning credits. It's skill boost credits. So this will allow you to get credits to access those skills boost labs, which will spin up Google Cloud instances within the scope of that particular lab, and you will only have access to it for the duration of the lab. So you'll only when you're ready to complete the hands-on, get started with a lab. Click the start lab button only when you're ready. Like in today's case, you can, because it's a no-cost lab, you can always rerun it again. But the first lab, with the first link, which is there in the description, which we look at at the end after completing the second lab, the first lab will require 1 credit. If you don't have it, it's fine. You can do it at your own pace. It's not required that you complete it today. I'll tell you why shortly. Redemption process was already sent to you in email. Anyone who is watching this video, you can sign up to become a Google Developer Program member, GDP. It's free, or you can just directly go to skills.google. and you can sign up to Gear program with no cost option, you will still be getting 35 free lab credits, which will allow you to every month, not just one time. Every month you get it if you sign up for Gear program. So those who are shortlisted for Pachamama, you also got a 9 credit link today, which is a direct credit redemption link. This is on top of the 35 credits, so you have 44 if, in case you're able to get those 35. If you're not able to get the sign up done properly at one time, just retry after some time. Sometimes a lot of people are trying at the same time, because this Pachamama season, we have more than 3,000 participants who are shortlisted. We have amazing network opportunity on our Discord channel, because you're all the shortlisted folks are all really remarkable in your own fields, in your own organizations, in your own learning journeys. So utilize that opportunity and ask meaningful questions and share your experiences throughout this initiative. And I'm really thrilled for that. All right. We'll be looking at 2 labs today. The lab 2 will be the first one that we'll tackle. Lab 1, we'll look at it later. Lab 2, we will explore an e-commerce data set with just by writing SQLs in BigQuery. We will use public data set or any data set that's available within the scope of the lab that we'll be looking at shortly. Okay, remember I said that you don't have to worry if you're not able to finish it or start lab today. That's totally fine. You can do it at your own pace after today's session, or maybe sometime later this week, or maybe next week. You have time until August first week to complete all the labs, because the results that you have to submit will be only at the end of all the 5 upskilling sessions. There'll be a pop quiz link which will be sent to you, and you'll have to submit. That's only at that time, so don't stress it if you're not able to click start lab today. It's fine. You can listen in and immerse yourself in the learning experience. Just make sure you sign up for GDP or Gear and get the credits, so that when you're ready to click start lab, you have the credits handy. Then the second phase is build phase, which I've already talked to you about. You will come up with your idea, and you will sign up for Google Cloud's $300 trial credits that you get when you sign up, and you get building. Remember, throughout the journey, the top 100 will get the top 50 ideas that are shortlisted will get $100 credits on top of the credits that you are already um, activating through your initial sign up, the free credits that you get. Right, but this is afterwards. This is after you build and submit the $100 extra credits that you'll get for Google Cloud. That is after you submit the results. So you'll get to build on your idea starting August 14th. So until then, it's all learning journey. And before you start building on your own, you'll also get the pop quiz notification. And remember, I said there's another collaboration that I want to talk about. This time, we are collaborating with NASCOM, and we'll have the finale on 24th in collaboration with them. There'll be some sessions from them. The top 10 projects will be presenting live on the stage, on the big stage, where we'll have folks, delegates, and we'll have executives and other like leaders from startups and enterprises. And there's so much to do in the area of career opportunities, networking, and startup ideas. Just collaborating within the group and outside of this group is really exciting for me, but it's going to be thrilling this time, because you will also have some outside insights into the things that we have been thinking about. So think big, think of the idea that you want to work on. You never know who in this crowd today is going to be the next big is going to make that next big idea or the next big entrepreneur of. If it comes from Patchamomma, I'll be really thrilled. One thing which I didn't talk about, which I really want to say, why is this the case? Like, why can't we do this through Code Vipassana? Why can't it just be generic? One thing I've noticed through all the sessions that I've been a part of, or all the speaking opportunities that I have been a part of so far. One thing I've noticed is the disparity between the number of girls and the women and men in any room, for that matter, any technology related or any event for that matter. I see such big difference in numbers, and I always wondered why. But then I realized, okay, I will never get a single collective answer for why. And it doesn't matter. What matters is there should be a platform where a lot of us come together, and it's an exclusive one where there is no choice. Like, if you have an idea, you should be here. If you have the zeal to learn, you should be here. You're now forced to come, whether or not you have that. You have that connection who posts about the next big event. And in the past, you may have complained that, you know what, I was not aware that this was available, or I submitted, but they had a limit of only 200 folks, or they had a limit of 2,000. I didn't want that. I wanted at least to go big this time, 2,000, but we doubled 4,000 of you signed up. We shortlisted and brought close to 3,450 or, or almost 3,500 folks. So I'm really thrilled for all of the wonderful ladies who are remarkable, like I said, in your respective fields and area of work and area of study. So I'm really excited. So let's get started. So that's the introduction that I wanted to do. Now, moving to the code lab. If you remember, I have already shared the code lab in the email today. So if you have not already opened it, it's a skills lab, not code lab. I'm sorry. If you have not already opened it, go to the latest email, and you should see this yellow table, the yellow box in the bottom of the email or in the somewhere in the email body. You should have lab 1 and lab 2. So that's what we are going to be working on first, lab 2. So make sure you go to, if you're doing hands-on alongside, feel free. Otherwise, you can just listen in and watch and completely immerse yourself in understanding the basics and getting started rather than trying it out hands-on at your, right now. But this is a no-cost lab. So even if you don't finish it during the time that I'm speaking with you, it's fine. You can later do it at your own time as well. You can repeat this without using up a single credit or any number of credits for this. All right. So here's a breather. If anyone wants to run quickly, get a cup of water or coffee or anything, just get your laptop. If you don't, if you're joining us here from phone, please make sure you have your laptop ready. So the lab, it's the lab link, the skills lab link is there in the YouTube live videos description. We are looking at lab 2, which is explore e-commerce data set with SQL in BigQuery. Very simple. We are going to use BigQuery. We are going to explore a e-commerce data set. We are going to write SQLs. I know this might be basic for a good majority of you, but that's fine because you're going to use BigQuery in some form or other in your idea, or may not. But somewhere down the line, you may want to explore. You may want to leverage it to run prototypes because it's amazing. It's serverless. Number one, it gives you so much free storage data wise. For a specific period of time, and you can definitely try out all your prototypes. You can try out your MVPs. You can run queries. You can do machine learning. You can do AI. You can do advanced LLM calls. You can store unstructured media in cloud storage and access it directly from BigQuery. You can you can have graph structure in BigQuery. You can have JSON semi-structured data in BigQuery. Basically, it's the beast of data warehouses that's out there, and it's very advanced when it comes to AI. So we're going to get started with this lab. So take a quick 2 or 3 second water run, quick break, just come back and we'll get started with the lab. For those who are ready to go, open the link that ends with 629088. It's there in the video's description. I'm going to allow 10 more seconds. All right. I don't know. I lost track of time. I hope it's 10 seconds now. Let's continue. Hello, everyone. Thank you. I'm sorry. Let's get started with the e-commerce data set with SQL Lab. BigQuery, like I said, Google's fully managed, no ops, low cost analytics database. You can query terabytes and terabytes of data without having any infrastructure to manage because, like I said, it's serverless. Serverless means you can go, I'll show you right now. You can go to console.cloud.google.com. Not right now, you don't have to because you have a lab. Once you click Start Lab, you'll get the environment automatically. You don't have to go anywhere. But I'm just saying, you can just search for BigQuery on Google Cloud Console's search search bar, and you can just get started with creating a data set, creating a table, adding rows and columns, and doing any AI, any amount of AI you want. And you can run, like I said, several hundreds of thousands of records, and even with AI capabilities. We'll be looking at the basics today, not everything, but yeah, just know that it's available for you. It uses SQL, and you can take advantage, and it takes advantage of the pay-as-you-go model. So it allows you to focus on analyzing data to find meaningful insights. That's pretty much the role of any data warehouse. But BigQuery stands out as a beast in this because everything that's cutting edge, though the latest and greatest in technology or AI that you can think of, it's there in BigQuery already. So that's like if you go to BigQuery documentation today and look at what's new, how can I handle bulk data LLM calls in the database or in the data warehouse without having to write any application code? There is a way for you to do that in BigQuery. All right. So we will use the e-commerce data set that's readily available. It's already loaded into a table in BigQuery. I think it should be there as a public data set, but if not, we will use a copy of the data set in this lab. We'll show you, we'll see how to do that shortly. Sample scenarios are provided, and then we will do few things. First, access the e-commerce data set. Two, look at the metadata of the data set. Three, you'll remove duplicate entries, bare minimum SQL queries we'll be writing there, and write and execute queries. That's pretty much it for this lab. The next lab, you'll have a little bit additional, a few other services which are very important for you in the process of building. So we will look at both labs today. However, if you're wanting to try it hands-on alongside me today, make sure we'll start with this one. All right, so now you have to click the Start Lab button. So where is the Start Lab button? I'm going to open this in a separate tab again. The reason I just want to have a place where I can always come back to in case I lose track of time here. Okay, so here we are in the beginning, right below this title, Explore an e-commerce data set with SQL and BigQuery, you should see a Start button. Go ahead and click that. It will ask you to confirm you're human. Do that. Bicycles. What? Oh, sorry. All right. There we go. So the best that you can do is open this skills lab link in incognito mode so that you should not be signed in to Google Cloud or any skills lab already. This gives you, I mean, skills lab, yes, but for entering this lab, it's better to use incognito mode because you're not using your credentials, you're using the username and password provisioned here. So all we have to do is just right click, open link in new tab. If you notice, I'm on incognito tab already. So I would encourage you all to do that too. So I have opened this Open Google Cloud Console button. I've clicked this in a new tab in incognito mode. So it's asking me to verify, to confirm that I understand the terms and conditions. I click that button and then it takes me to Google Cloud Console. There we go. So this is the Google Cloud Console that is associated with the student ID. If you notice, this is why I asked you to do it incognito because this is not your ID. This is an ID that's been given to you by this lab. So agree to the terms of service here by checking this box and click agree and continue. And there we go. This is Google Cloud Console. This is what it looks like. You can squeeze this in by closing that, and you see the hamburger, the navigation menu on the top left corner. If you click that, you will see everything that's pinned, favorite products, and other things. And the main console body has Google Cloud logo here, which if you click, it'll always bring you back to the dashboard. And then you have the project ID, and then you have Gemini Cloud Assist. You can ask questions. And then there is a search bar. This is where, if ideally you were not following this and you just randomly went to console.cloud.google.com, this is the search bar that you use to go to BigQuery or anything. Any service that you want, you search here and you go to that service. And then Gemini Cloud Assist, and then you have Activate Cloud Shell button. We'll get to that later. This is the CLI. It's the command line interface that allows you to talk to Google Cloud Services using G-Cloud commands. The tutorial is open on the right-hand side. You can keep it or you can close it and come back to this lab on the left-hand side. But if you find this convenient, you can follow it. For some time, I'm going to keep it and then I'll close it eventually. All right. So let's leave it at that for now. So as you can see right here, you see your project information APIs that are already enabled and all those ready to go. Now, we already looked at what we're going to do. We already talked about BigQuery. We already talked that we are going to use the e-commerce data set. So we'll click next. Objectives, we already talked about it. I'll click next. Setup and requirements, we already clicked the Start Lab. So don't waste time reading that again. I already told you what you need to remember. Just click that button in an incognito mode and make sure that you check the terms of service and other things and come to this page, this landing page. All right, task one, pin the lab project in BigQuery. Now, the first step is we need to find, we already know what BigQuery is. Now we want to do some analytics. We want to run some basic queries. We want to store data in BigQuery. How to get started? Go to the nav menu, the navigation menu, scroll down. You should see BigQuery somewhere there. If you're lazy to scroll, just type BigQuery in the search bar. Either way, BigQuery, one word. You will get to the BigQuery console, say done, and you should be able to see BigQuery console here. I know it looks a lot cramped here because of the tutorial panel on the right hand side. It's okay. After a few minutes, I'll close that out. Close it out anyway. But I can squeeze this nav menu inside so you get a little bit extra space here. And I'm going to shrink this. All right. So now I see BigQuery console inside Google Cloud Console. Done. Next step, we are going to do BigQuery public data sets are not displayed by default. Remember the data set that we're going to use, the e-commerce data set? It's a public data set. So what is a public data set? Um, for this is something that you will really find useful when you're starting your build phase. If you're not sure what data to use or what project you want to work on, there's so much free public data set that's available in BigQuery that you can leverage across different industries. Some retail, pharmacy. I don't know if pharmacy data is there, but I think I remember I'm seeing it somewhere. Bookstore data set. There's so much data. It's not 10 or 20 records. It has like several hundreds of thousands of records. Some cases there are millions. So do check out public data set. You will see how to extract public data set and use for your use case. But the importance there is that these data sets you can leverage to build your prototypes, to build your MVPs, to stress test something, to test out the capacity of any model that you try, or test out anything that you want for your application. Or even if your idea wants to use some of the existing data, feel free to use this. So it's going to be really useful. So let's see how to. By default, you won't be seeing this in this Explorer. So we came from this is the Explorer pane. If you scroll down, by default, it's not available. You will see your project ID, but you will not see public data set. So how to get public data set? That's what we're going to do now. So click the compass icon, which is the Explorer in the right under sandbox. You should see that compass icon, which is the Explorer icon. Go ahead and click that. Once you click that, you should be seeing what you're seeing in my screen right here. The first thing you want to do is click this add data button, plus add data button. That's what we click. All right. And then if you scroll down, the bottom part here shows star a project by name. Click that. So it'll ask which project do you want to start. So in the right panel, if you see, it says what project we want to start, data to insights. That's the public datasets project we want to start. So copy that. You can either copy from the right panel tutorial, or if you closed it accidentally, that's fine. Go back to the tab where you have this open and find this. Click start a project by name and paste it right here. There you go. And click start. That's it. This is start. Why did we start this? So that you can easily find this public data set under your Explorer pane. That's exactly why we did that. All right, now let's click the previous page button and go back here. All right, my right panel is gone automatically. That's fine. I have it open anyway right here. So I can always come back here to see where I am. So this is where I am. We started the lab. We spoke about BigQuery. We spoke about what we're going to do today. And we are in task one, where we start the data to insights. All right. Now, on to the next task. Explore e-commerce data and identify duplicate records. So what is the scenario here? Your data analyst team exported Google Analytics logs for some e-commerce website into BigQuery and created a new table of all the raw e-commerce visitor session data. Let's say you are running an e-commerce website, a business, and you have visitors data that's available. So you went into BigQuery and then you created a new table of all e-commerce visitors, just raw session information, nothing processed, just storing all raw visitor session data from Google Analytics logs. All right. So that's what we are going to explore. Explore the all sessions raw table data. Now, click the expand node icon near data to insights. Let's go back to the console here. Remember, we started, so it will appear now. Previously, this data to insights was not there. Since we start this project, you're able to see it now. So I'm going to squeeze my active project and expand the data to insights project. So what is a project? A project is a Google Cloud project. In this case, this is the project that's been given to you by default because we are using the Google Cloud instance from within your skills lab. That's why you got this project in the first place. You didn't create it. That's fine. You can always try it at your own time later when you sign up. With BigQuery, you don't need billing account. You can just use Sandbox and play around without having a billing account created. You would need a project though. Yeah. So next thing, what we did, we just clicked the star project and then you entered the name of name data hyphen to hyphen insights. And then you see that appear right here. That's it. Now we click that, we expanded it. What's the next instruction? Expand e-commerce and click all sessions raw. All right. So let's click data sets. What data sets do we have here? So here we have e-commerce data set, customer insights data set, but we want e-commerce. So click e-commerce. So this is our data set. The data set is e-commerce. Project name is data to insights. How did that already contain the data set? How did this project already contain data set? And how does this data set have all these tables? If you're wondering, this is a public data set. That's why I said BigQuery offers a lot of public data officially for you to use that for any prototypes, MVPs, and other things to play around with the data, to test something, to use it basically for your learning and MVP prototype purposes. So go ahead and start this project data hyphen to hyphen insights. And once you expand the data sets, you would be able to see all the available data sets out of which we have chosen e-commerce. And within e-commerce data set, you see all these tables. In this scenario, our use case is to explore all sessions raw. So I'm going to click this all sessions raw table right here just to explore the metadata. So what's metadata? It's the fields, the tables, if there is any primary key that's available, the data type of these fields, other attributes like mode, description, what is the key setup, all those things related to this data is what we call the metadata. It's data about the data that you're storing, right? So you can find that here. As you can see right here, you have details where this table is coming from, when was it created, as you can see the created date and other things, and meaning in the public data set, right? So preview, if you go to preview, you would be able to see what you can actually squeeze the Explorer, collapse the Explorer pane so that you can see, you get a broader view of your query editor. So as you can see right here, we have the preview of this table here, which shows the visitor ID, the channel grouping, which channel they've come from. If you see the number of records you have in this table, it's easily enough for you to do any kind of testing or any kind of use case that you want to do, that you want to build, right? So you have time, you have country, the data is from, or the visitor is from, city, you have total transaction, so much information that you can use. But anyway, this is data. This is not metadata. This is actual data in the table, and the metadata we already saw in the schema, right? All right. What next? We saw the schema tab, we saw the details tab, and we saw the table preview. All three done. Now, there is a simple quiz. You can take it. Which UI tab will show you the data types? Of course, it's schema. There we go. How many rows are in the data set? Oh, 21 million. All right. Over 21 million records. I think they've just asked this question to flex. Anyway, identify duplicate rows. That is the ultimate step here. So seeing a sample amount of data may give you a greater intuition for what is included in the dataset. To preview sample rows, just click the preview tab, which we already did. I already showed you the preview tab. So you can see sample like 50 records. But here, we scanned and scrolled through the rows. There is no singular field that uniquely identifies a row, so you need advanced logic to identify duplicate rows. Remember, I showed you the schema. You saw that there was no primary key. So, which means there could be duplicates here, and our job here is to identify duplicate rows. That's the logic we're going to write. I know it's very simple, it's bare minimum, but trust me, things like this will come in handy when you're writing advanced LLM queries and aggregation queries. You're writing uh, anything that you want to do. I'm someone who feels very strongly about building agentic and AI applications while keeping AI in the scope of data where the data resides rather than pushing it to the agent. So if you're like me, if you're wondering that could I just push the agentic part directly to the intelligence to the data, then you would really appreciate learning the basics. You probably already know. For some, it's not learning; it's things that you already know, but just know how to do it in the scope of the data that you will be building. There's something in this for everybody if it's you. If not, there are some advanced labs in that have already been sent to you throughout this these 5 sessions, so you would find those really helpful too. Anyway, so what we're going to do right now is we'll use the below query in this lab, um, which uses a group by function so that it will identify rows that have same values across every field. All right. If every field is unique, the count returns one. I mean, you know how group by works, right? You'll group by a specific field. Let's say I want to identify all participants today who are from Bangalore. I'll group by Bangalore, right? So it's like that. And then you'll count. So that's what it is going to do. The last part of the query is an aggregation filter. Where clause, there's select from and where the primary fields, the primary clauses, constructs that make up the select part of SQL query. Select will select the fields, from will select the table name, and where will filter the records. But when you're using group by aggregation functions, your where clause, you will have to use having instead of in addition to using where clause if you have both. So that's why we have the having clause as well in our query. So let's take a quick look at what we have right here. This is the SQL, copy this. So it says select count of star as duplicate rows from all sessions raw. Basically, we are looking at e-commerce data set for visitor session data, raw session data. So we are grouping by all of these fields, literally every single field, because we don't have a primary key field. So we don't know what column field could be different. So we are taking all of them and we are checking if the number of duplicate rows is greater than one. That's exactly what we're going to do. All right. So let's just copy this. We have grouped by all the fields. That's what we discussed already. Let's go back to the console here. Now, how do you run the query? You see this plus sign right next to the dataset and table tab. Click that plus sign. It will open untitled query. Paste this right here. And there we go. So like I said, it selects just the number of how many duplicate rows are there in this table by running this query where you group by all the fields and you're counting the rows which are exactly same where they are more than one. So let's run this before the lab time ends, because these labs are timed. So only start a specific skills lab if you have enough time to complete it. Otherwise, you'll use up the credits and you won't even be able to finish the lab. All right, there we go. So there are 615 duplicates. Which means like there are multiple. This visitor ID has not visitor ID, a combination of this entire row. This one occurs 2 times. A combination of this visitor ID and all of these entire second row field has 4 duplicates. So as you can see, you can find the entire row record. You can see how many times that entire record occurs in this table. That's how many. So there are 615 full visitor records that are duplicated, and so many number of times. If you sum this field all up, you'll be able to see how much they amount to. You can also write another subquery on top of that, and you can identify the sum of all these fields. Or smartly, you can just click the save results, and you can do CSV, and there we go. And once it exports it, you can just open the CSV and see the sum of all of these. Oh, I said export instead of download. All right, that's fine. If I were to, where is download? local download. Yeah. I don't know if it'll allow me because I'm inside. Oh, yeah, it did. So if you want, you can just do this and open this here. And then you can see, open it as Google Sheets and see how many duplicate records they amount to in this particular. There we go. So 1,000. So it's 615 records, but 1,862 total number of duplicates that are there in the table. Of course, you can write a query to do that. You can do a lot more, but I just wanted to give you a basic understanding of how to get started with BigQuery and jump right in into using the tables, using the creating data sets, creating tables, using public data set, because these things are important for you in your build phase, right? So we have 615. So select that and submit. Identify, check my progress. So this is how you check your progress when you're using Skills Lab. Assessment complete. And there we go. We are all done. Now, there's another section here. You analyze the new all sessions table. Now we'll use a deduplicated table. If you remember, there was one raw table and one all sessions. So you can run a query to confirm that there are no duplicates in this particular table. That is something you can do too. So try that out at your own time. Next is write basic SQL on commerce data. Now that we understood how to create create a data set and use the public data set that's available, use the table, add more records into the table, add existing records, write queries and other things. Let's see some more queries, more new query examples. In this case, what we're doing here is determine the total number of views by counting product views and number of unique visitors by counting full visitor ID. So because this is e-commerce data, you can do what you want to understand your product and your visitors. Right. So let's do one more query. I click another new tab here by clicking the plus button. And then this will give you the product views with unique visitors. So total number of product views with total number of unique visitors overall, not for a specific product. Now, if you want to find it for a specific product, you can use the where clause and filter that. All right, so this is what you'd see. Now, for a specific channel, right? So here we go. You use the group by, order by, and you will get individual channel results as well. So previously we saw overall product visitors. Now you'll see unique visitors for a specific channel using this other query, the group by and having clause. Next one, list product names alphabetically. You can use group by product name and then you order by. It just lists the unique product name. So let's see what kind of products. I'm just curious to see what kind of products we have here in this data set. There we go. Hand sanitizer, ceramic Google mug, ceramic mug, Android squishable, online, hot and cold tumbler. Nice. So yeah, wide variety of data sets for you to build your applications. If you want to reverse the order, you use the order by defaults to ascending. If you want to reverse, try order by. Yeah, that's fine. You use DESC. Sorry, I thought there was a question. Which part of the previous query deduplicates the records? So for deduplicating, we used group by. Perfect. I think we did all this. All right, now this is interesting analytics here. List 5 products with the most views from all visitors, including people who have viewed the same product more than once. So your query will count the number of times a product was viewed, put the list in descending order, and list the top 5 entries. Now you must be thinking, why am I learning this? I thought I'll be doing agents. But think about it. What do you, if let's say you want to build an analytics agent for your executives or for your analyst product and analytics team to understand how your product is performing, or you want to show the user which product they have shown the most interest in the past several months or several years or weeks, you would want to build an agent that is able to talk to the database or the tools and bring you this information. Now, you can, if you think that I don't need to write all these things, I can write Python code or any code, JavaScript code on the application side and do this. Yeah, I mean, you can wish that, but imagine the data set, the size of the data that you'll be dealing with if you're working or if you're building an e-commerce platform or if you're building for your business, the most optimal way and the most efficient way to do that is to bring or retain that intelligence to where the data resides, which is the database or the data warehouse. So that's why this kind of analytics, if they are exposed as tools, your agent can just talk to it and consume that tool and give the response to the agents. Now you must be wondering, I'm not building any agent here, I'm just writing queries. That's fine. Hold on to our third session or fourth session. We have multi-agent applications. You will be learning how to use some of these tools or some other tools based on the use case that we are going to be using. And you will put the pieces together, you'll connect the dots logically, and you'll be able to bring this intelligence to your projects that you'll in the build phase as well. Right. I hope that clears some questions that you may have as to why we are looking at this right now. Right. All right. So let's do this. Let's perform this quick analytics of top 5 entries based on views, product views. So here we go. This is the standard query. Um, let's copy this. There's a tip that's mentioned here. A visitor can view a product during page interaction, screen view, event, transaction, item. So many different events or activities of the user will amount to view. A view is not just viewing, right? You can do anything. You can just click. It'll still click as a click, but you still have to view it. So many activities account for viewing. So we'll simply filter for only those that are in type page, right? Just for the sake of this example. So let's go back here and run this query. I hope the lab is not timed out. Let's just see. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, it's sorted in descending order because we wanted the top 5. So you see the top 5 right here. Top 5 product views grouped by product names, of course, for filtered for the type page views. Basically, that's you can view anything, but we have looked at the page views here. That's what you see in the filter clause. So that's pretty much what we have in the quick, easy analytics that we did right now. So if you don't want to do double counting for product visitors, views or visitors, then you can put a distinct on top of that, and you can write queries that are tabled as well. You can use this with clause to table the results and then use that in a subquery right below that. So let's do that also, so you can see what's going on here. So as you can see right here, this identifies this as this table block as an expression, unique product views by person. And then you're using this right here. You're referencing that table view within the scope of your select query right here, so that this query ensures that you're not double counting duplicates for views. So the answer might slightly be different from what we saw in the previous query, because we are eliminating and making sure we are accounting for unique views. There we go. Same product, but you will see difference in numbers. This is what I said. So you can break a complex query into multiple steps using the with clause. So the second part of the query will use the tabled block that you have used in the with clause. That's what we did right now. You'll use that extensively if you're into building your tools and MCPs using SQL, like giving the database the power that it has and it deserves. So this is where you actually this is how you structure your agentic applications, by giving your database the power it deserves by bringing AI and intelligence to the data where it resides. So there are more queries in this lab. If you want, you can just go through that. Quick questions: the product with the most views, got the most orders. Not necessarily. Okay. Yes, necessarily. I didn't see the numbers in the results. So what is the difference between orders and... Okay, you can go through the questions at your own time, because we can use that time to finish. I have only 3 minutes left in this lab. So let's see if there are other queries that we need to run. Expand the query to include average amount of product per order. Okay, the same query, you're adding more conditions, you're adding more group buys by looking at, and you're also doing what else are we doing here? There we go. We are adding average per order. You're adding more fields here. That's like basically you're not just taking the count, you're actually taking the sum number of products ordered, and you're also taking the average quantity per order as well. Again, another query that you can run, and that's it. That's pretty much it for the sample. I just have 2 minutes left in this lab, but I hope if you were following along and you were doing this particular lab with me, I hope you were able to get through all the steps and you were able to answer all the questions. The reason I said not to start with the first lab is because if you accidentally click the start lab in the first one, you would have used up the credit for that particular lab, which is 1 credit, but that's okay. But still, but you wouldn't be able to finish and focus on it entirely. Um, because you're also listening to me, you're also looking at my screen. So that's why start the first lab at your own time and do it at your own time. But this one is a free lab. So even if you got to this point and you're not complete, because when you say congratulations, it'll actually tell you, okay, you've completed this lab or something, which can actually screenshot and use as proof of completing that, right? But that will only happen if you complete and answer all the questions, you complete all the queries. Only then you will get that, because the system will know whether you've completed and ran these queries or not. All right. So I've only completed like 70% of the queries. I didn't run all of them. So that's what you see right here. So go ahead and complete this. Even if you were doing these steps with me and you're not 100% here, that's totally fine. You can always end this lab because this lab is free. It's no cost lab, and restart this lab all over again, because you can, this is no cost lab, as you can see in the top of this right here. So you can always repeat this from the start. So that is basics of exploring e-commerce dataset by leveraging publicly available dataset in public dataset in BigQuery. Why is it useful for you? When you get to the build phase, it is going to help you to get your data ingested from within the scope. If you're not sure where to start, what dataset, where will I collect data from, you can always get synthetic data generated or create synthetic data depending on your use case, or use some data, of course, obfuscating some of the critical information that you shouldn't be sharing in the build phase. You can definitely use that, whatever data you have for the use case that you have in mind or the industry you have in mind. But if you don't have a place to start, public data sets is a great place. That's why we went through that. Now, if anyone wants to quickly run for a water break or something, 30 seconds, just come back. We'll go through. We will not be doing, we will not be clicking the start button on this lab, because I want you to take that, use that credit to complete it. So if you start now, by the end of this lab's dedicated time, it'll be over. So I want you to listen to the concepts that we'll be discussing, but do this lab at your own time. Yeah, I'll just give you like 25 seconds. Come back soon. We'll discuss the concepts here, and I'll show you what is what in what which is where in the Google Cloud Console, so you can leverage more services in this learning session. All right, welcome back, everyone. I know it's 25 seconds, barely anything, but bear with me, just a few more minutes, and then we'll all get to go and build at your own pace, learn at your own pace. So this is again SQL based. We'll have BigQuery and Cloud SQL. I will not be executing queries here. I'll show you where Cloud SQL is. BigQuery you already know. Now you're all pro. You can just go and play around with public data sets, explore all the public data sets that are out there. If you don't know, just go to BigQuery, or just go to Open Cloud Assist, or just open Gemini and ask what data sets you can use, what public data sets are there, right? So in this lab, what we're going to be doing is, I'll just scroll down to that point. Again, start lab one, only when you have the dedicated time that's required, click start lab, which is probably less than 1.5 hours for sure, but still make sure that you will be able to sit through and complete it, because it's essential for you to complete it to make it 100% all, like 100% complete of all the tabs that are there in the lab. So what are we going to do here? Um, where is it? Okay, there we go. Here it is. Read data into BigQuery, which we already saw how to, but this is a different use case. Execute simple queries in BigQuery and then export. Remember how I showed the export of CSV, which we already did? But here we'll take that CSV, open a cloud storage bucket, open Google Cloud Storage Service, create a bucket and store the CSV file there. And then you will create a Cloud SQL instance and use Cloud Shell terminal commands, gcloud commands, to load this exported CSV file as a new table directly inside Cloud SQL. So basically, you're just two steps away. You already have the CSV, right? I mean, you will have it once you complete that step. But this is a different data set, but that's fine. If you start this, you have to do all the steps pertaining to this lab. I'm just letting you know. So what's new for us in this session is creating cloud storage bucket and creating cloud SQL instance. So let's jump straight to that. If all of these things are basic for you, there are some advanced BigQuery um, skills labs as well. They are hyperlinked here, right before the setup and requirements section. So please take a look at advanced analytics and other things. We already know the basics of SQL. We already discussed select from, where, group by, order by, the with clause, so on, and like having a few constructs. Those are not all, but at least bare minimum that's required to get started. BigQuery console, we already know how to get it, right? Once you do start. So for this, I'm going to be using my Google Cloud Console, not the labs, because if I start, we will be I will not be able to complete it. So I don't want to waste my credit for half, like for not completing the lab fully. So I'm going to show my Google Cloud Console outside of the lab, but I'll use the lab for instructions. All right. So BigQuery, we already did that. We already have what we need. We already have the table. We already have the data. We already have the CSV. However, you will have to go through all the steps in this lab to complete this. I have it from, let's say I have a CSV already from some other lab, right? The previous lab. All right. So now uh, BigQuery, we know in this case, in the use case is cycle, London Bicycles dataset. In the previous lab, we use the e-commerce dataset. So that's another difference as well. But that's okay, whatever dataset you want to use. Next part, which is the queries, which we already addressed. So scrolling down past that, CSV export done, create a Cloud SQL instance. So let's look at that. So Cloud SQL, again, it's a fully managed Google Cloud database. It it's compatible, or it supports MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQL Server, which is Cloud SQL for Postgres, Cloud SQL for MySQL, and Cloud SQL for SQL Server. In this lab, you're going to be using Cloud SQL for MySQL. So we will create a development instance. So go to the navigation menu in Google Cloud Console and click Cloud SQL. So let me do that. I'll show you my Google Cloud Console. So I'm already here. I'm going to search. Either you can search here, or you can use the navigation menu, search for Cloud SQL. If it's there, there it is. I click that. All right. So it's loading. While it's loading, let's look at the steps. On the instances page, get started, create development instance. So that's what I'm going to do. Create instance. Instances. So I'll click that instances page. New instance. There we go. So it says MySQL. So choose MySQL. So it says development. So let's only create development. There is development instance. Don't create production instance for your build phase also, unless you're building it for your startup, right? So, or for your businesses. Okay, so development instance done. And then what else? Edition, enterprise. So we don't want enterprise plus, we'll just go with enterprise. All right, done. Database version, MySQL 8. It's okay, I think we can do 8.4 as well. For instance ID, type my demo, type whatever you want for your instance ID. Give a standard password, whatever you want. So it's too difficult. I'm just going to type SQL. Yeah. Oh, it's not enough. Cloud SQL exclamation. No. Okay. Zonal, highly available. Yeah, that's already selected. Expand and select the lab zone. Primary, leave the default value for secondary. So let's just whatever you want. I'm going to say US Central 1A. All right. That's pretty much it. Click create instance. That's all. It'll take a few seconds, a few minutes here for this instance to be created. But that's how you create a Cloud SQL instance. You can also create it using Cloud Shell command, which is gcloud command, or you can programmatically create an instance. There are multiple methods. I just showed you the console approach. It's there in the lab. Even if you don't want to click the lab and do it, if you have a um, cloud Google Cloud environment that you're already using for learning purposes, you can try it there. But the best bet if you don't have, because this lab will require even if you use your own Google Cloud environment, it will require billing account. So the best bet for you, if you're just getting started, is to use the credits in the lab and click start lab and go through all the steps when you have later today, or not today, it's already going to be late for you, but this week sometime, right? So once the instance is complete, we will just be able to enter into the instance. We'll create our table, our database. We'll create the table. Um, just get started. We'll use gcloud command for that. Previously with BigQuery, we saw how we did all those things through the console. In this lab, we are going to connect to SQL, Cloud SQL through gcloud commands, which is what I said. I'll show you how to use Cloud Shell Editor. So we are going to be doing that. Let it load. It's still creating. In the meantime, what else do we have here? So we have, I'll also show you how to open Google Cloud Storage bucket while this is loading, so we can upload our CSV there. All right. So I'm right clicking here, Google Cloud, and then open a new tab. There we go. This is on the landing page. While my Cloud SQL instance is getting created, I'm going to create my Cloud Storage bucket and make sure my CSV is available there. So click Cloud Storage, the product. It will bring you to Cloud Storage landing page. There we go. This is our Cloud Storage landing page. Create bucket, you will see the button right away. If you have buckets already, it will show you the list of buckets that you have. So click create bucket, give a bucket name. In this case, I'm going to be using e-commerce demo bucket. I don't want any label here. I'm just going to go with bare minimum setup configuration here. All right. So you can continue, and then it's just enough to say single zone, single region. Sorry, not zone, single region. And then I'll select the same region, US Central 1 that I had before in the Cloud SQL instance. Continue. I'm not going to change anything. I'll leave it to standard storage here, standard class of storage. And then I'm not going to choose any optimization strategy here. I'll delete this bucket later. So I don't want to enforce public access right now because I'm not going to be looking at what permissions I need to provide. So I'm unchecking this just for demo purposes. In the real world, for a production grade application, you will want to have public access prevention on your data source storage bucket, because cloud storage bucket, because you don't want anyone to be able to access your data, right? Buckets. What is cloud storage bucket? See, we saw Cloud SQL for transactional rows and column data. We saw BigQuery for data warehouse of rows and columns, like traditional relational database with rows and columns. It has a structure. Even though BigQuery is able to store JSON, like semi-structured objects, is able to store unstructured objects through external table concept, even though it supports graph data. However, we have a structure in the form of rows and columns when you want to interact with the data. But what will you do? Same way with Cloud SQL. But when it comes to unstructured objects like files, images, videos, where will you store them? So that's where Cloud Storage bucket, Google Cloud Storage, allows you to store these files. And you can access them by giving the necessary permission through these data sources and other applications that you build on top of it. So this is also a form of database. It's just that it's unstructured database for unstructured objects. So think of it like that. So I'm going to just create this. In the meantime, my Cloud SQL instance is complete. All right. So if you go to the nav menu here, not that nav menu, the sliding navigation menu, you will see Cloud SQL Studio. Why do we need that? Because we have just created our instance. So click that instance before you go to Studio. You will see everything. You will see your service account associated. All of those things got created automatically. Now you need to query, right? You can directly query or you can use command line instructions. So how to do that? It's also there in your uh, lab, the skills lab. So now that SQL instance is created, let me also ensure the cloud storage bucket is, there we go. Our cloud storage bucket is also created. For the time being, for demo purposes, I'm going to give permission for all users to be able to access this bucket. Not because I'm going to give you the to access to this. It's just that I don't want to set up permissions for demo purposes, for demo applications, but I wouldn't do this for real world applications. So storage object, I'm going to give it storage object viewer or user and the role storage bucket viewer. All right. I'll just allow public access for the time being. While it is updating, let's go and take a look at the lab as to what to do in this Cloud SQL instance. So now that we have created the Cloud SQL instance, we need to connect to it and query it, create a database, create a table, add rows, other things, right? So how do we do it? Let's connect to this instance first. Where is the section named connect to this instance? Let's find it. Connect to this. There we go. In the console, Cloud SQL console, the moment it says your instance is created, you get a hyperlink to your instance. Click that. It will take you to Cloud SQL landing page and you get this connect to this instance square. Section right here. Scroll down. There is a open connect. There's an open Cloud Shell button to connect to this instance using G-Cloud. So let's do that. Click that. It will ask you to authorize, provide authorization. There we go. It'll take a few seconds here, a couple of seconds. There we go. So it's connected now. Perfect. So you should be able to see your active project name with the command preloaded for you to just hit enter. So what is this command? Gcloud SQL connect my demo. That's the name of my instance. The root user, quiet, meaning it just loads that command. It's just going to not display much any preload statements or logs and other things. It'll just give you enter password. Now I have to remember the password that I entered there. Okay. Oh, was it not the right password? Secure connection. Interesting. Why is this not a secure connection? Maybe I'm authorized with a different user here. Anyway, there are other ways to test this connection as well. You can go to Cloud SQL Studio and you can run the same things. I'll try connecting from here. Let's see. MySQL user root. That's why. No, it's there. One last try. Okay. Anyway, that's okay. You can go to Cloud SQL here, right from the studio, and you should be able to connect to your query section and should be able to do all those queries that we were talking about right from here as well. Mm, Root is not permitted. Test user. I'll just try it one more time before we. Studio test. There we go. It's authenticated now. Um, we can also try that from here then. There we go. So it's authenticated now. So I'm inside the query prompt, MySQL queries, straightforward. It's Cloud SQL though. So we have created the instance. We have now connected to the instance. Now in one command, you can actually create the database. We just want to create e-commerce data set, right? I don't have the data set. If you remember, I have the CSV of the e-commerce. So I can just run the same command here, create data set, say ecom test. Is it the underscore? Is it data? Oh, sorry. I'm still in BigQuery. It's not data set, it's database. My bad. Um, So in BigQuery, we call it data set. What we call as database, the container of all your tables and all your data, right? We call as database. In other databases in BigQuery, we call it data set. So I was still typing as data set. Whereas here in Cloud SQL, it's just database. So as you can see right here, it's there right there in the cloud, in the skills lab, create database bike, but I created a database called ecom test. All right, so that is done. So the next thing is creating table. So you can create a table there. You can create the table with the corresponding fields. You can actually select, but directly you can upload a CSV using a command, which is what I said we'll use a CSV that we exported in the previous lab for, right? So how would we do that? We already stored it in cloud storage bucket, if you remember. So you can actually use that and you can click import. So how do we do that? You can do that directly. So this is how you use the console to, I mean, Cloud Shell terminal to interact, create tables and insert rows, but that's not what we want to do. I mean, you can do that as per the lab, but I also want you to see one more thing, how to import the data that we already have. So I'm here in Cloud SQL console. All right. We have to click import. So where is our import? Right here. Refresh. There we go. We have one database that is the ecom test. Click that in the three dots next to your database. You see import data. So click import data. Remember, we stored our CSV. So click that and browse. Click browse. So we can search for the bucket that we just created. I forgot what the name was. I think it's e-commerce. Search ecom. There we go. This is the one. So I'll select that. Oh, I forgot to upload the file here. So let's go to the bucket that we just created here. Bucket details. There we go. So I'm going to go here to objects. I'll upload files. I want to upload the CSV that we just downloaded in BigQuery. So I'm going to open that here. I have not tested this CSV because we just uploaded everything that we had from BigQuery, whatever result of the first query that we had. So I don't know if the schema is compatible, but let's see. All right. So I'm going to do the import table again. Click browse, click search, ecom buck. This is the one. There we go. We have our CSV showing up. Click select. Destination, we can just say ecom test. Existing table. We didn't create an existing table, right? So that's another problem. We don't have the existing table, but that should not be an issue. We have several columns though. So anyway, so you get the point. So you go here, you click import. In our case, we don't have the table created. Um, since we don't, why the reason why we don't have the table created is because we have a lot of fields here. I'll have to create this table one by one with this, or it should be able to identify the, oh, there we go. It actually identified the CSV itself, and it actually loaded. Let's see if it loaded it. No, it didn't. It didn't. Let's see what the thing is. Table does not exist. So we don't have the table here. You can at least create a bare minimum like empty bare bones table, and then you try to import the CSV. We have so many fields here. I didn't want to go into creating all of these things, but I just wanted you to understand this is how you get started with Cloud SQL. You can directly use the terminal commands, the gcloud commands to interact and create the tables and enter the fields. Or you saw the BigQuery data set, the CSV that you have. You can generate the data, you can create synthetic data, export the public data sets that you have in BigQuery into CSVs, and you can use it directly from Cloud SQL by using the import data feature. The best bet is to choose the database of your choice, whether it's Firebase, Firestore, AlloyDB, Cloud SQL, or whatever it is, and use BigQuery for the analytics and the big things like bringing. You can use AI in Cloud SQL, AlloyDB, Firebase, Firestore, which is Firebase also. However, for analytics and advanced AI uh, data warehouse specific use cases, go for BigQuery and try to use that. So these things will come in handy when you're trying to build your application during the build phase. So I just wanted to. The first lab was anyway just to show you where things are. We did a good job in doing the first lab, the second lab first, which is BigQuery. So you know how to get started. And then you go to Cloud SQL. We created the instance. You went to cloud storage. You created the bucket, uploaded whatever files you want. In this case, it's a CSV. And then you came back to Cloud SQL, connected to the instance that was created, created a database, created a table, but you didn't end up loading the data. The reason is we need to do some work behind the scenes to get the data. We either have to create the table first, but we didn't go about doing that. But you can do it at your own time. If you're following this lab to complete it, make sure to go through the instructions in this lab and not use the CSV that you uploaded from the BigQuery lab, because this is a London bike database data set, whereas the other one was e-commerce data set. So that's one of the differences that you want to know. So with that, we conclude today's session. I hope that this was useful for you to get started with the databases, the data, and bringing the ingestion mode, handling basic queries, how to store, how to process, how to use that in your agentic applications. We'll learn down the line, but at least is a good starting point for you to explore the data sets for when you're ready to build. We will see you at same time, 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday, which is 29th of July, day after tomorrow, for the second session, which is Advanced Insights and Analytics with BigQuery. So I'm really thrilled for that as well. So take this time. Don't have to submit the results now. Like when I say submit results, you would be given a pop quiz much later, like once all the 5 sessions are completed. So take this time to complete the labs, go through the labs, use the credits. If not already done, sign up for Google Developer Program. And through that, or sign up for Gear program, which is right there, the subscription. Click buy subscription. That will be free, no cost mode. Select that option. You will get 35 credits every month. It will get topped up, so you can continue to learn using that. Topped up in the sense you'll get 35 credits for that particular month, so you can use that to learn and complete these labs at your own time. So see you all in the next session. I will go to the questions in Discord channel and try to see some of the questions in the YouTube on demand. So this video, this live stream will be available on demand in the same link even after the session is over. So in case your friends have missed it, or you want to go through the session again to complete some of the steps, feel free to do that. And I hope you continue to process your idea, continue to think about what you want to build starting August 14th. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. And thank you so much, Google leads and Code Vipassana leads who've been answering questions in the comment section.